Hello, everyone. Today we will be discussing about the fundamentals of occupational safety and health in the work environment. This is the topic that was assigned to me, and also I will be discussing about job safety, which will be tackled later on after this one. So let's start with, of course, the legal framework of the occupational safety and health in the work environment. So in the Republic Act number 11058, which is also known as the Act Strengthening Compliance with Occupational Safety and Health Standards, it actually applies to all workplaces and it includes the educational institutions. So it mandates the implementation of OSH standards to safeguard the health and safety of workers, including, of course, the teachers and administrative staff. So an example of this is in a certain school, for example, they make sure that they are compliant with the RA 11058 by conducting regular safety audits and also implementing necessary safety measures such as proper ventilation in classrooms and safe electrical installation. So it's really a must in an educational institution that the administrators and also the teachers will take precautions of the structure of the school, most especially the electrical installations and also the proper ventilation of the schools. Another legal framework that is related to the OSH is the Department of Education and also the Commission on Higher Education Policies. They have specific policies for safety and health standards in educational institution. So for DepEd, we have DepEd Order number 40, series of 2012. It focuses on child protection. Meanwhile, for CHED memorandum orders, they have outlined safety standards for higher education institutions. So for an example on how are we going to practice the policies of DepEd or CHED is we have to follow the guidelines, of course, to maintain high safety standards. For example, you have school laboratories. We have to include proper storage and labeling of chemicals, no, to make sure that the students who will be using the laboratories will be safe. So what are the key components now of the OSH? So we have the first one, which is the hazard identification and risk assessment. So this involves identifying potential hazards in educational settings, such as laboratories, because sometimes there are so many accidents happening in laboratories, no? May it be a science laboratory, computer laboratory, no, workshops, playgrounds also for those schools who are catering pre-elementary students and also inside the classroom. So conducting risk assessments will help evaluate the likelihood and severity of harm from identified hazards. Another key component is uh, if we implement control measures and we provide safety training to our students and also to the teachers and administrators as well. We have to control the measures, including the engineering controls, the administrative controls, and also the personal protective equipment such as the PPE. So there should be a regular training for teachers, staff, and students on the safety procedures inside the school. So how are we going to apply this? So for example, a school who conducts regular risk assessment in their chemistry lab, for them to be able to identify the potential chemical hazards and of course to implement safety measures to prevent accidents among students. So another example of how are we going to apply this is we, for example, a school makes sure that the science teacher will undergo annual safety training and that PPE, like for example, the students will be using their laboratory make sure that the PPE is available for all students during the laboratory sessions. Another two key components that we have to remember about OSH is emergency preparedness. No? So it involves developing and implementing response plans for potential emergencies such as fires, earthquakes, and also typhoons. And we also have health surveillance, which includes regular health checks and programs for early detection and management of health issues. So how are we going to apply this in our school? So if we do regularly conduct earthquake drills, which I believe most of the public and private schools are doing, and we have emergency response plan for such disaster, of course, we are already practicing emergency preparedness because we have a thorough plan. We orient our students on what are they going to do if in case these things will happen. So what are the specific OSH programs that we already have in the Philippine education? So it includes the first one, the school safety and disaster preparedness. That's why we have DepEd's Brigada Escuela program, which involves the school maintenance activities to make sure that the first few weeks or months of the classes they are in the safe place. We also do conduct regular earthquake and fire drills to prepare the students and also the staff for emergencies, no? So, I believe even though private schools, they are also conducting Brigada Escuela, but then in a different manner naman, unlike in the public school, no? So, doing this will conducting maintenance activities in a school to repair the potential hazards and organize, for example, fire drills. This will help to make sure the students and staff know how to respond in case of a fire. Another program that the Philippines have is the laboratory and workshop safety. So we have to make sure that the safety in laboratories and workshop involves equipping the students with proper safety gear, first aid kits, which I believe should be available not just in laboratories but inside the classrooms as well, and fire extinguisher, no? Specific trainings for handling chemicals and machinery safely is also essential. So we have to make sure that the teachers are properly trained to handle chemicals, and if they are TLE teachers, for instance, and then they will be using machines, you have to make sure that the teachers are properly equipped with the knowledge on handling or operating the machines. No, an example of this is, of course, I believe the University of the Philippines has strict protocols for laboratory safety, which includes the mandatory safety training for all students and staff using lab facilities. Another program is the mental health and well-being. So the mental health programs provides access to counseling services and promotes supportive school environment. So these programs will address the stress and other mental health issues among students and staff. So this is very important because there is a great percentage according to research about the number of students or the number of teenagers who are experiencing mental health problems or issues. So an example of applying this in our school is if we establish a mental health program that includes counseling services and wellness workshop, because this will help significantly improve the overall well-being of the staff, not just the student, but also the teachers as well. Another program is the health protocols and disease prevention. No? So, following the health protocols, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, by that time, it involves measures like wearing masks, maintaining physical distancing, and also regular sanitation. And also, we implement vaccination programs and health education campaigns to our students. So an example of that is um, when schools conduct regular disinfection of classroom, and also we if a school encourages their students to participate in the vaccination drives and encourage them also to have themselves vaccinated, not just for students but also for the staff. So what are the challenges that we usually find or see um, when we are doing this? No, so the first one is compliance and enforcement. So ensuring compliance with OSH standards is actually really a challenge, no? Strengthening enforcement mechanism and increasing the frequency of inspection by DepEd and SHED are actually necessary to make sure that all educational institutions will adhere to safety standards. That's why there are people from the DepEd or SHED that would visit our schools or institutions to check these things and to make sure that we are compliant. So for example, in DepEd, they conduct regular inspection of the schools around the Philippines to make sure that the institutions or the schools are compliant with safety regulations and to identify which areas are needed to be improved. Next one is we have the resource allocation. No? So this one is a challenge because providing adequate resources for OSH programs, including funding for training equipment and also safety infrastructure, is actually really important. So because of that, we have to make sure that all schools, especially those who are in the remote areas, will have access to necessary OSH resources, and we have to consider their situation. So for an example of that is how are we going to consider this one is the DepEd needs to fund the schools in the remote area. For example, in a remote school in Mindanao, they have to receive funding through a DepEd grant to improve their safety infrastructure, which includes installation of fire extinguisher o kaya emergency exits. So we have to consider those things. Another challenge that we usually face for OSH is integrating new technologies such as digital monitoring tools and automated safety system in school that can actually enhance the OSH practice. So we can also use technology to improve the OSH training and education to our among the students and the staff. So for example, in Makati, I believe there is one school who uses digital platforms for safety training to make sure that the staff and the students can access the up-to-date information on OSH practice. So we can also try to apply that one. Okay, what are the case studies and best practices related to OSH in the Philippines? So, first one is the earthquake preparedness in Baguio City School. So, we all know that Baguio is prone to earthquakes. Schools in Baguio City implemented comprehensive earthquake preparedness programs, which includes regular drills, structural assessments, and emergency kits. So this approach significantly improved the safety and readiness of the students and the staff during this kind of event. Another best practice is from the Laboratory Safety in University of the Philippines. So the UP campuses have strict protocols for laboratory use, which includes the mandatory safety training for students and staff, proper labeling and storage of chemicals, and the availability of emergency showers and eye wash stations. So what could be the future direction that we can actually have for OSH? So we have to continue to develop and refine the OSH policies to address the emerging risk in educational settings. This is actually important, no? We also need to collaborate with international organizations because there are best practices also in other countries that we can actually align to the Philippine OSH standards, and to further enhance also the safety practices. The Philippine schools, I believe, DepEd and also CHED are actually working with international safety organizations to update the OSH policy. And of course, we have to make sure that we are meeting the global standards and effectively addressing the new challenges when it comes to OSH. Another thing that we can do is to leverage on technology to make sure that the OSH practices are being practiced well. So it we can include that we are using also AI as a suggestion for hazard detection and wearable devices for health monitoring. So this is very idealistic, but actually this is one way to practice safe practice these policies to make it more effective, no? Promoting also the adoption of digital tools for OSH and for OSH training and education will be important. It will benefit us in the future. So I believe there is a school in Manila that uses AI powered system to monitor, for example, the air quality and to make sure that the environment is healthy for students and also staff. Another future direction that we can consider is strengthening public-private partnership. So we can encourage collaboration between government agencies, private sectors, and also NGOs to improve OSH standards and implementation in schools. No, so the joint efforts, for example, in funding, resources sharing, and also the community-based OSH initiatives can enhance the safety of the students and staff. So, an example of this that we can do is we do partnership between the local government unit and the private company to provide the public schools with new safety equipments and also training resources. So those are the things that we have to know about the OSH. And now we shall go to the topic ensuring job safety and job safety programs. So this is quite short compared to the previous topic because they are actually related to one another. So what are the legal responsibilities and duties who are under in this who should be under the job safety and job safety programs. So of course the school administrators have the responsibility of ensuring compliance with the OSH standards and regulations. So this includes providing necessary resources and support for the implementation of OSH programs and conducting regular safety inspections and audits to identify and address potential hazards. So the principals can actually do or conduct monthly safety inspections to make sure in their school, in their respective schools, to make sure that all areas complied with safety standards and they can address any identified hazards promptly. Another person who would be responsible for this is of course the teachers and staff because they have to follow establishing the safety protocols and procedures. They have to report unsafe conditions and incidents to school administration, and they also need to participate in safety training and skills. So if for example teachers in a school they have seen or experienced something which will affect the the safetiness of the students or the other staff or teachers or their co-teachers, they are required to report those safety concerns immediately, and they also need to participate in training sessions if ever that they will be conducting one. So what are the job safety programs that we already have in our educational system? So the school safety and disaster preparedness are actually important. So we have the Brigada Escuela, which involves nationwide school maintenance. It includes safety inspections and repairs. The schools also develop disaster risk reduction and management, or DRRM. They plan, conduct drills, and train staff and students on disaster preparedness. No, so we all know that schools participates in Brigada Escuela every year to make sure that all classrooms and facilities are safe and well maintained. And it's we also from time to time we also get memorandums that we also need to conduct regular earthquake and fire drills. For laboratory and workshop safety programs, it includes protocols for handling chemicals and equipments, as mentioned earlier also. The mandatory safety training for teachers and students using the facilities in the laboratory. It should also include the proper use of PPE and emergency procedures for essentials. No, so usually the science teachers are the ones who experience this. They usually conduct safety training at the beginning of each term or at the beginning of the school year to make sure the students know how to handle laboratory equipments and chemicals safely. Another job safety program is, as mentioned also earlier, is the health and wellness program, which includes counseling services and promoting mental well-being amongst teachers and staff. So we can do initiatives like regular checkups, vaccination drives, health education campaigns, no, to our students. Another job safety program is the fire safety program, which involves the installation of fire alarms, extinguishers, and emergency exits in all school buildings. So we know that we do regular fire drills and trainings in our school, but we also have to make sure that we have the required tools if in case this kind of emergency would arise. So what are the case studies and best practices that we can actually adopt? So in Manila schools, they also have their earthquake preparedness, no? They have programs which includes regular drills, structural assessment, and also emergency kits. And I believe all the other schools are also doing this. Another one is the health and wellness program in some of the Cebu schools. They have established a health and wellness program that would include regular health screening, mental health counseling, and wellness workshop for teachers and staff. So that ends my presentation about the OSH and job safety programs. If you have question, you can message me via Messenger or you can send your message via our group chat. Thank you so much.